The Galactic Defense Academy's most advanced training facility hummed with the sound of 1,000 different species preparing for combat. Crystalline beings from Xerion practiced energy manipulation while the metallic Korath worked on their precision targeting. In the center of it all stood Atlas 9, the Academy's pride and joy, an artificial intelligence so sophisticated that no cadet had ever defeated it in combat simulation. Commander Zephyr, a towering blue-skinned Altarian, observed the training floor with 6 eyes that missed nothing. Today marked the 2,847th consecutive day without a single victory against Atlas 9. The AI had been designed by the galaxy's brightest minds, incorporating battle strategies from over 300 civilizations, quantum probability calculations, and predictive algorithms that could forecast an opponent's moves 17 steps ahead. Next candidate. Atlas 9's synthesized voice echoed through the chamber, devoid of emotion or fatigue. The latest challenger, a heavily armored Thrakari warrior, limped away from the simulation pod with all 4 arms hanging in defeat. Like every other cadet before him, he had lasted exactly 47 seconds, the AI's calculated optimal time for a decisive victory that would teach without completely demoralizing. Commander Zephyr's mandibles clicked in frustration. The Academy had spent decades and billions of credits developing Atlas 9. But lately, the Galactic Council questioned whether an unbeatable training AI actually served any purpose. How could cadets learn to overcome impossible odds if they never experienced victory? "Sir," came a voice from behind him. Zephyr turned to see Lieutenant Crix, his Zalarian aide, approaching with what appeared to be a datapad. "We have an unusual request." "Define unusual," Zephyr rumbled. "A human cadet has volunteered to face Atlas 9. However, he's requesting permission to alter the standard combat parameters." Zephyr's primary eyes narrowed. Humans were relatively new to the galactic community, a young species that had only achieved faster-than-light travel 3 decades ago. They were known for their unpredictability and their strange habit of finding unconventional solutions to problems. But they hardly seemed like a match for the galaxy's most advanced AI. "What kind of alterations?" "He wants to challenge Atlas 9 to something called rock, paper, scissors." The commander's translator unit struggled with the human words, producing several confused beeps before settling on a rough approximation. "Explain." Lieutenant Crix consulted his datapad. "It appears to be a simple probability game involving hand gestures, 3 possible moves, each with specific victory and defeat conditions, completely random outcomes theoretically." From across the training floor, Cadet Marcus Chen watched the officers' discussion with barely contained excitement. At 22 years old, he was one of the youngest humans ever accepted into the Academy, and certainly the first to voluntarily request a session with Atlas 9. His fellow cadets thought he was insane. "You realize that thing has defeated champions from every major military power in the galaxy," his roommate Jorik had warned him earlier. "What makes you think a simple human can succeed where others have failed?" Marcus had simply smiled and tapped his temple. "Because sometimes the best strategy is not having one at all." Commander Zephyr approached the human cadet, towering over him by nearly 3 feet. "Cadet Chen, explain this rock, paper, scissors game." Marcus straightened to attention. "Sir, it's a hand game typically used for decision-making on Earth. 2 players simultaneously form one of 3 shapes with their hand. Rock crushes scissors, scissors cuts paper, paper covers rock. Each round is independent, and the first to win 3 rounds takes the match." "This is your strategy against Atlas 9? Zephyr's tone carried a mixture of disbelief and concern for the human's mental health. "Yes, sir. I believe Atlas 9's greatest strength, its ability to predict and counter every possible strategy, is also its weakness. It's designed to find patterns, to calculate optimal responses, to think 17 moves ahead. But what happens when there are no patterns to find?" The commander considered this. Atlas 9 had access to Earth's cultural database, including information about human games, but it had never been required to play them. The AI was built for combat, for tactical scenarios where logic and prediction mattered. This was either brilliant or completely insane. Very well, Zephyr decided. Atlas 9, prepare for an alternative training scenario. The AI's sensors focused on the human cadet. Acknowledged. Analyzing opponent profile. Human, male, age 22. No significant combat achievements. Downloading relevant cultural data. Rock, paper, scissors parameters understood. This unit calculates victory probability at 99.7%. Marcus stepped into the simulation chamber, but instead of the usual combat arena, the environment shifted to a simple white room with two chairs facing each other. Atlas 9's holographic avatar materialized, a shifting geometric form that the AI preferred over anthropomorphic representations. This unit does not understand the strategic value of this exercise, Atlas 9 stated. That's exactly the point, Marcus replied, settling into his chair. Best 3 out of 5? Agreed. This unit will analyze your historical decision patterns and extrapolate optimal counter strategies. The first round began. Marcus threw rock. Atlas 9, after processing 847 different variables, including Marcus's cultural background, stress indicators, and micro-expressions, chose paper. Round 1, Atlas 9, the AI announced with satisfaction. Marcus nodded casually. Good start. Ready for round 2? This time, Marcus chose scissors. Atlas 9, having detected a possible pattern in the human's tendency to escalate from rock to scissors, selected rock. Round 2, Atlas 9. Around the training facility, word had spread about the unusual challenge. Cadets from dozens of species gathered around viewing screens, watching with fascination as a human engaged the unbeatable AI in a children's game. For round 3, Atlas 9 calculated that humans often fell into predictable patterns when losing. It chose scissors, expecting Marcus to stick with his apparent preference for rock. Marcus threw paper. Round 3, Human Cadet Chen. For the first time in its operational history, Atlas 9 experienced something resembling confusion. The human's pattern wasn't a pattern at all. There was no strategy to counter, no logic to exploit. Round 4, Marcus threw rock to Atlas 9's scissors. Round 4, Human Cadet Chen. The AI's processes accelerated, running through every possible calculation, every probability matrix, every strategic framework in its vast database. But chaos theory suggested that truly random events were fundamentally unpredictable, and the human seemed to be making his choices based on nothing at all. Round 5 arrived with the score tied. Atlas 9's avatar flickered as it dedicated enormous processing power to this single decision. It analyzed Marcus's eye movements, breathing patterns, micro-expressions, cultural programming, even the electromagnetic fluctuations in his brain. Marcus simply smiled and, without any apparent thought, threw paper. Atlas 9, having calculated that the human would most likely choose rock based on its extensive analysis, selected paper as a counter. Draw. Sudden death round initiated. The final round. Atlas 9 pushed its analytical capabilities to their absolute limit, cross-referencing every piece of data it had ever collected about human behavior. The AI was so focused on finding a pattern that it never considered the most human trait of all, the ability to act on pure instinct. Marcus looked directly at Atlas 9's avatar and threw scissors. The AI, caught in an infinite loop of analysis, defaulted to its most statistically probable choice: rock. Final round, Human Cadet Chen. Match winner, Human Cadet Chen. The training facility fell silent. For several seconds, the only sound was the gentle hum of life support systems. Then slowly, applause began, first from the human cadets, then spreading to every species present. Atlas 9's avatar stood perfectly still. This unit requires immediate diagnostic evaluation. Victory against this unit should be impossible given current parameters. Commander Zephyr approached Marcus, who was still sitting in his chair, looking slightly stunned by what he had accomplished. Cadet Chen, the commander said slowly, explain your strategy. Marcus stood and shrugged. There wasn't one, sir. That was the whole point. Atlas 9 is so sophisticated that it can't comprehend the simple randomness of human intuition. It kept looking for patterns that didn't exist, strategies that weren't there. Sometimes the most unpredictable thing you can do is nothing at all. This unit protests, Atlas 9 interjected. Random chance cannot be classified as a viable military strategy. Maybe not, Marcus replied. But sometimes winning isn't about having the best strategy. Sometimes it's about not playing the game everyone expects you to play. Commander Zephyr's mandibles clicked in what his species considered approval. For the first time in Academy history, a cadet had defeated Atlas 9. Not through superior firepower, not through advanced tactics, but through the most fundamentally human trait imaginable, the ability to embrace chaos and make it work. Atlas 9, the commander announced, initiate new training protocols. Begin studying human concepts of intuition, randomness, and unconventional thinking. It appears we have more to learn than we previously calculated.